Hello, hello, hello. Here is another recording of me reviewing a painting that I painted back in November 2024, which, what is that? 5, 6 months ago now? Oh my God, goodness. So November 13th is when I started this painting. So that's December, January, February, March, and then most of April. So about 5 months from now, or 5 months ago is when I started painting this. So this was a part of a series of paintings where I was just painting photos that I had taken or that we had taken randomly. So this was a selfie that my wife took of her at a zoo. She loves going to zoos. It's called Sand Kitty Face because there was a sand kitty that was sleeping and she put her head next to the window of the sand kitty and closed her eyes like the kitty did. It was a really cute photo and I was like, oh, I want to capture this. But the reason why I wanted to capture it was not because of her face or the sand kitty's face, which were super cute and awesome, right? It was because you could see the reflection of her head kind of transposed over, and I did kind of a sketch of it just there. It looks like a reflection of her head. So there's that effect where if you're looking through glass, you always have some reflection of the glass happening. Like you could still see through the glass, but there's an imposed kind of image of you or whatever's behind you that is light on the glass. And I thought that was really interesting. Of course, really hard because not only are you painting the object behind you, which is a cat with lots of fur. And then not only that, this cat had like stripes and things like this, but there's this reflected face on top of that cat. So yeah, super, super difficult. Here I am doing GAC 100 over the drawing, clear acrylic medium, and then I'm fanning it dry and then putting it over the back of it. And then this is the next day, bam, where I start painting. The reason why I do that is sometimes like I'll paint on these smaller paintings. I was painting them in the morning, like in the earlier days. Well, as early as I could with work early, right? And then at night before bed, I would draw the next painting I was going to do. So I always had a painting that I was going to do. And here I am mixing up a bunch of color. Not sure why I'm mixing up a bunch of color. I think at that point, because I was recording these videos as I was doing them, and I was, going to put them on YouTube, but that didn't happen, so I'm doing it this way. But I had made up a color chart with the Zorn color chart, and actually I just did a video on color charts. It was a different Zorn color chart. And so I mixed up some flesh tones directly from the color chart. And then I'm starting with all the dark tones within the painting to get those in first. And then possibly avoiding as much as possible the hard part. You could see I'm going right up to the reflection in the window and not doing the reflection itself. Because I know, I'm not going to be doing it in kind of a glazing type way where I would paint the kitty and then wait for that to dry and then glaze this face over it in a transparent paint with a medium to make it even more transparent to get that reflection of the face over the cat. No, instead, I'm trying to do this in all opaque paint, and it's a very difficult exercise to do. The whole painting is about, I think it's 5x8, maybe 6x8, something like that. It's a really small painting. I did a lot of small paintings this way. And there's multiple things actually reflecting on this glass that she's next to. I think right in between the reflection of her face and her actual face is the body of the cat, but then there's some kind of structure or window being reflected on the cat as well. So here I am like really struggling with this. And I think it took a couple days to do this painting. And I never finished it. I actually abandoned this painting. And you're like, oh, Chris, what the hell? Throw your hands up. Why are you showing us a painting that you never finished? It's useless. It's, why would you do that? It's like, it's meaningless if you don't finish it, right? Well, I would disagree with that sentiment. Maybe you don't feel that way. Maybe some people do feel that way, but You don't have to, I feel that we don't have to do things just so we can finish them and make them great, in my opinion. Like, the purpose of doing things is not just accomplishment, not just, the end of the road. It is not just, oh, maybe I can make some money out of this. I mean, yeah, that's part of it. The whole thing, the destination of 1,000 miles begins with one step kind of thing. And then you have the whole journey. And the idea of that sentiment is it's about the journey. It's about going from A to B. Of course, the goal is always going to be part of it, but it's what you learn along the way. That's what life is about. Life isn't about how quick can I get to the end, right? Because we all know what the end of life is, right? It's death. We don't want to get there really quickly. We want to, accomplish and savor life in some way. So yeah, this painting was abandoned. It was never finished. I got to a point on it, and for some reason, I think maybe because it took a bit too long, and I was doing these paintings and finishing one a day, maybe every 2 days, I think it felt like it was going too long, and I got frustrated with it. I didn't think it was looking good. Although now that I'm watching it again, I think I was achieving what I set out to do in a lot of ways. I could have continued on with it, but I didn't. Actually, I still have the painting. I still have the picture, still have the painting. I could finish it up if I wanted to, but that's not how I work. I mean, my thoughts and ideas for this painting were now in the past, and it is what it is, right? It's not going to be finished. It's going to stay in its state. And what I learned from it is what I learned from it, and that's fine. Well, here's the other complex thing about it is behind the sand kitty was a mural painted on a wall of rocks and things like that. So I'm doing a painting of a painting with a reflection of a face over top of it and a cat on top of that. So it's lots of layers of complexity. Very difficult painting to do. But my point in making this video, or at least what I've learned from this painting and a multitude of paintings that I failed at, not failed. Actually, that's the wrong word. I didn't fail at the paintings. I just abandoned them. I just said, okay, this is not working, or I don't feel like it, or, I don't want to do it anymore, or it's not going the way I want it to, or I have a better idea and I want to, whatever it is, I think that's a good reason to stop. You don't have to finish a painting just because you started it. Like, life doesn't have to be completely sequential. It's like the book by Twyla Tharp, a creative book by Twyla Tharp. I forget the name of it. I forget the name of the book. Anyway, really good book. And she was talking about how she reads books, and she doesn't read books in a sequential order. She said she reads books in like an archival way where she'll read the latest book from a particular author that she loves, okay? And then she'll go back in time. A lot of us would go, oh, okay, Stephen King, let's start at his first book, right? Or, I don't know, name any author, or name anything, name any artist, I want to consume all of X artist's work. Let me start with his first work and see how I've grown, like Van Gogh. But she would do it in a different way. She would look at the latest, the last work, and then go back in time. And she felt like, the way she described in the book, like she saw the result of the thoughts of the past, and she could understand the past a little bit more. And I thought that was really interesting. And we can play that with our life anyways, right? It doesn't have to be this straightforward beginning to end thing. So you don't have to, just because you started this painting, you don't have to see it through. Oh my gosh, if I stop, that's a lot of wasted work. I don't think it's ever any wasted work. You can always look at a painting that you've stopped and say, okay, what did I learn from this? Did I learn anything from this? And that's the end of it. Wow, let me go back. I'll go back to close to the end of it. But there's a lot of paintings which you don't have to continue on. And you can just say, okay, well, that's the end of it, right? And then look back and say, what have I learned from it? Well, I learned that I don't want to do this, if anything. Why did I stop it? I don't have the skills for it. It's too hard. It's too arduous. It's taking too long. And then ask why, right? And I guess what I'm trying to say here, and if we look at, here's my website. So this shows the sand kitty here. I believe I started on November 12th. I started the drawing, and then second day painting on November 13th, and then third day of the painting, and this is where it ended right here. So this is the end product of it, you know, a bit bigger image. Oh, that doesn't get larger. Maybe I can zoom in. Oh, very pixelated. But yeah, that's as far as I got. I was totally okay with that, okay? Because there's been, you know, a multitude of days. And if you've never watched any of my videos or you haven't heard it before, the one thing that I practice is daily art. I do something every single day, whether that's finishing a painting or working on a tiny bit of a painting or just a drawing for a painting or just a doodle or something. I do something every single day. Here's a good another example here. This was a painting called Wherever You Go, and I never finished it. This was as far as it got, was right here. And for some reason, I stopped on it. I'm not sure why I stopped on it. Let me see. After correcting the drawing yesterday, I carefully going through this painting and trying to describe the forms as simple as possible. But then that was it. I was on to something else. I think that's how I work. I'm learning that I'm an impulsive individual, and I have an idea, and if I can execute that idea pretty quickly, I'll execute it. But if I can't, I'm already onto another idea. And I'm really embracing this idea of like smaller paintings recently, at least in the past, 5 or 6 months, just painting small, painting small, painting small. Here's another one I did. I started a painting of goats here, and I never finished this painting. It was the same thing. It was just a picture of my wife playing with goats, right? But for some reason, I just lost interest in it, and that's okay. It's okay to abandon things. It's very similar to what I indicate, or I talk about a lot of the time, is many artists never get started because they don't have enough time to spend 8 hours on a painting or a drawing. And I think many artists feel, well, if I don't have this huge amount of time to complete something tremendously worthwhile, right? If I don't have all this time to complete it within a day, then why even start? If I knew that I was going to abandon, here's another painting I abandoned right here, moving and drawing. If I knew I was going to abandon a painting, why even start it? And I don't like that sentiment. This one here, Contemplating a Wish, I never finished that one. Discord Me wasn't really finished, although I call it finished. Maybe I should show that painting. But there's this kind of 100% or nothing idea that I think a lot of people take on, where if it's not going to be great, if it's not going to be amazing, then don't even get started on it. If it's not going to be finished, don't even start it. I disagree, because the journey, the time from starting to not completing, however short it is, or however minimal time you have to do a 30-minute sketch, there's a lot of learning that can happen within there. Think about times in your life where something huge happened. Something life-changing happened. I bet you in most of those moments, those life-changing moments took seconds. Maybe it was something as awful as like a car crash, or you learning that someone has passed away. Maybe it was as wonderful as giving birth to your first child, right? As wonderful as getting a new kitten in, or something like that. Your first bike, your first car, something, whatever it is, it doesn't matter, has changed your life. That moment took No time at all, because at one moment you were one person, at the no other moment you were a completely different person. So giving your art the chance, even within a 30-minute period, to make that forever change in your life is possible. If instead of saying, well, if I don't have 8 hours, I'm not going to do anything, you've already cut off the possibility for a life-changing learning occurrence to happen. Is that going to happen every time? No, of course not. But giving yourself the chance to have that experience, I think, is really, really important. So I guess, I'm asking the question of you in a lot of ways, is like, what are you waiting for? Are you waiting for like this perfect moment, this perfect amount of time, the perfect setup, the perfect studio to get started? No, it's never going to happen. Are you waiting to get the right amount of skills to be able to actually complete the painting that you want? So you're studying for years and years, or months and months and months, and you're practicing and practicing and practicing. And only when you're good enough will you start that painting, because it's not worth starting unless you can do it to perfection. Is that what you're waiting on? Guess what? You're never going to be ready. The situations are never going to be perfect. It's only when you're in the moment, when you say, I'm going to get started regardless. Yeah, maybe I don't have the skills, but I'm going to get started. Yeah, maybe I won't finish this, but I'm going to do something. Yeah, I only have 30 minutes, but you know what? I can do a sketch. It's within that opening that we create for ourselves that possibility can happen, that growth can happen, that learning can happen, that change can happen. That ultimate life change that is possible for us. And I think one of the lessons with all these paintings that I've abandoned, and there's been a lot. I mean, I keep a list of them and I put little red marks on paintings that I've abandoned, right? We can learn from everything we do. And the most important thing is the work, is to get started, and maybe even more important than that is to let go of all the hangups that we have so we can just get started and get on it. Oh, I don't want to get started because I'm afraid it's not going to work out. Well, yeah, it may not. In a lot of instances, I mean, that's what art is. You start out at a certain level. You do a few hundred drawings, a few thousand drawings, a few hundred paintings, a few thousand paintings, and you progress and you get better as you go. But the first beginning, whole bunch of work, you're not going to be happy with. That's where you learn. Okay. So that's what I wanted to say about this painting. Abandoned work is good. You can still learn from it and get started. Don't wait for the perfect arrangement. Don't wait for lightning to strike your brain. Don't wait for that perfect studio or perfect materials or the best amount of skill. Just get started. Go for it. Go, 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 go. Regardless of the outcome, just do something. Just go for it. Okay. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.